Hello, everyone. This is David Call. I am the principal agent and owner of Ryan Everett Insurance. I wanted to pull up a declarations page for an auto policy. Some people have questions about this, and it's pretty common to not understand it completely. I'm going to try to explain it quickly and thoroughly so that maybe when you look at yours and you're wanting to shop around and have us look at it for you, you'll understand it just a little bit better. So let's go ahead and jump in. This is an Encompass auto policy. This first line right here is for liability coverage. This covers other vehicles other than your own. So if you cause an accident and that the other person is injured, this first line is called bodily injury. This first number represents $100,000 of coverage per person in the vehicle, up to $300,000 per accident. So if there are three people each with $100,000 of bodily injury, then they would all be covered completely. If there were four people with $100,000 of bodily injury, then you would be covered up to 300,000, and the remaining 100,000 would be something that you'd be having to deal with separately, and that wouldn't be very fun to deal with. So we recommend a minimum of coverage of 100, $300,000 limits. And I personally have higher limits on my own auto policy of 250, $500,000 because it doesn't take long for you to get some serious medical bills. And once you stub your toe and step foot in that hospital door, you're looking at 10,000 bucks immediately. So it's always good to have higher limits of liability, and it's usually pretty inexpensive, as you can see here. This is for an annual policy, so we're talking about for this one vehicle, it's $68 a year for this particular limit of liability. Going up doesn't add a whole lot of money. The next line is a property damage. This covers the other vehicle or any property that's damaged. It could be it's something other than a vehicle, like a fence or a house or whatever, but most of the time it's going to be another car. So the $100,000 limit would cover the other vehicle that you damaged. Again, it doesn't take long these days to find cars that are worth more than 25,000, and that's actually the state minimum liability limit for property damage of 25,000. But we always recommend keeping it at least 100,000, because if it's, let's say you total two cars, now you're looking at getting close to that $100,000 limit. The next item is a personal injury protection, also called PIP, PIP. This one has a $2,500 limit. That basically covers medical expenses, lost wages, and even funeral expenses per person in your vehicle. So it kind of is some protection for the people that are actually on the policy or in the car of the owner's car. This is something that it usually defaults to about 2,500. You can go up to, some companies allow you to go up to 10,000 or 50,000, but usually you want to have it in the lower range if you already have medical insurance. The next thing is the uninsured and underinsured bodily injury limits, and this is basically liability coverage for yourself. So if someone hits you, doesn't have insurance, and you get hurt pretty bad in the hospital, these bodily injury limits will cover your medical expenses, and we usually recommend that you have the same limits. You give the same limits to yourself that you would somebody else, and so that's why the limits match here. It also covers property damage to your vehicle or other property that might be in your car if someone were to hit you without insurance. So as you can see, that's not too expensive either. It's line item $9. The next item is the deductible for comprehensive coverage. This particular policy has a $250 limit. I usually recommend at least 500, maybe to 1,000. You're not going to want to file a claim for $300. That's going to be kind of silly. You're going to get a check for $50 because your deductible is $250 in this example. And if you file a $300 claim, you're going to have higher insurance in the long run. So I recommend having a little bit more in your savings to cover those little differences. Maybe have a $500 limit, deductible, I should say. The comprehensive covers anything but a collision. So let's say that there's a hailstorm, tornado, somebody throws a Molotov cocktail through your window, that would be a comprehensive claim. The collision is an act where your vehicle hits another vehicle, and that would be covered under this collision coverage with a $250 deductible. So same applies there. I recommend $500 limits, but you can go anywhere from $100 up to $1,000 usually with most companies on your deductibles. So the collision would cover your accident and cover your vehicle and any damage that it incurred because of an accident. The next item is the rental reimbursement. This basically gives you rental car coverage. So in this particular example, the limit of coverage is $35 per day or up to $1,050 maximum. So let's say you have a rental car for 10 days at $35 a day, that's $350 and you'd be covered under this. So it kind of determines what kind of vehicle you'll be put in. This is going to get you a little bit nicer vehicle, but nothing too fancy. The next item is the towing and labor coverage. This gives you $120 of coverage for towing fees. Let's say your car is disabled, you can have it towed. If you have a claim and you need to get your car out of the way, this would give you the money to cover the fees of towing. This particular policy also has an auto death indemnity coverage of $10,000. It's basically like a life insurance policy for the owner of the policy if they were to pass away as a result of an auto accident. I usually don't recommend this because a life insurance policy would cover you no matter what the reason is, and it can be a lot more coverage for nearly the same premium. So this is not really the best coverage, but sometimes you'll see that on an auto policy. And then below you see all these discounts. This particular person has anti-lock brakes and have a companion policy discount, which is when you have your home and auto bundled together. They have a auto draft, which is the easy pay plan on this particular one. They pay well, and they also get a future effective date discount, which means that they are shopping in advance of the day they want their policy to take effect. Usually it's only about 7 days, and they give you a small discount for shopping in advance. So that's the premium for this car, $465 a year through Encompass. There's another vehicle on the policy, and that has the same coverages, just different prices because it's a different vehicle. So I hope that answers any questions you have. Feel free to call and reach out to us if you have questions about your insurance. We'd love to look at it for you. Have a great day.